Good morning. Welcome to Live Impact News right here on WCNC Plus. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful President's Day if you did have off. And now you're back at work or doing whatever you need to do. We're going to start with some breaking news from this morning. Charlotte Mecklenburg County schools confirmed that all students and staff members are safe after a bus crash earlier this morning, but we do know that one person was seriously injured. You're taking a look at that scene right now. This happened on Beatties Ford Road in Cecilia. So just know that has since cleared, but one person was seriously injured. They do say that they are, they did follow all safety protocols for students and staff, and it's their top priority. That's what the principal told parents earlier this morning. Multiple crews did respond to Beatties Ford Road and Cecilia Avenue, and that was near Northwest School of Arts around 7 a.m. And medic confirms that one patient was taken to Novant Presbyterian Hospital with serious injuries. We, of course, will continue to track this, hopefully know more about that person's injuries and see if they are okay. But for now, we're going to turn it over to Majestic Storm. She is here with us in Live Impact Studio. Majestic, a beautiful day yesterday. So nice to, oh my gosh, so nice to take my dog for a walk. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people were doing that.
I definitely did that. It's always just nice when you get off of work and it's nice weather too, and it's getting to be a little lighter later. I know many people are liking that. We do have some changes on the way. Warmer temperatures, 70s ahead.
Great.
Mid-70s even.
Oh,
but unfortunately, it's not going to be like mid-70s and sunny skies.
Yeah.
We have some rain ahead as well. So let's get into it. We'll talk about what's going on right now and then get you ready for what's coming up next. Look at how pretty it is out there. Lake Norman, I've been watching this camera this morning. I've seen lots of people out there walking and jogging, maybe getting some fresh air before you perhaps start your day. A lot more people out on those roads as well as people are heading back to work, heading back to class, whatever it may be. This is our WCNC tower cam turned around, just giving you some perspective. Really, across the area, we have a nice day ahead. A little bit more cloud coverage compared to yesterday, but overall, not too shabby. This is coming in from Dallas. You can see some of those high-level clouds, but other than that, not bad at all. The warm-up is on. Yesterday, you probably noticed it was gorgeous. It was hard to miss that unless you were trapped somewhere where there are no windows, but we have warmer temperatures today, a little bit more cloud coverage compared to yesterday, and then tomorrow we will have increasing clouds even more, and then eventually rain showers ahead. I mentioned yesterday when I was looking at my 7-day forecast, Monday was my favorite day out of the week because for one, low 60-degree temperatures. I mean, I'm not complaining about that. We should be at 57 degrees this time of the year. Plus, it was picture perfect, gorgeous. And now each day this week, we will get a little warmer and warmer when we're looking at our daytime highs. But with that increase in temperatures, we will see increasingly more cloud coverage. Right now, it's 46 degrees in Charlotte, 45 in Lancaster, Charlotte checking in at 43. Even up in the mountains, not too bad, 41 there in Jefferson. Those are our current temperatures, and then really throughout the rest of the day today, mild conditions taking us into our lunchtime hour right around noon or so. Plan for upper 50s, low 60s, but we're not done warming up there today. It is going to be a warm one with really upper 60-degree temperatures returning, and like you can see, we'll have plenty of sunshine just mixed in with a little bit more cloud coverage. In the mountains today, expect those highs to climb into the upper 50s, low 60s. The mountain ski slopes, those cameras that I was checking out yesterday during midday, they were packed. Lots of people out there skiing and snowboarding and sledding. It was the perfect day to do that for President's Day. I know lots of kids were home and kind of bored, but I mean, you can't be bored when it's gorgeous and you're up on the mountain enjoying all that nice weather. There in the foothills today, checking in at 66 in Hickory. What a gorgeous day there. 66 in Lenoir, possibly some low 70s out towards Morganton. As we're heading across the Charlotte metro area, again, a few more clouds, but still plenty of sunshine. High of 67 from Gastonia out towards Shelby. And then across the Piedmont, we'll see upper 60-degree temperatures. 69 from Chester to Chesterfield, 68 in Rockingham, right around 65. So if you have any outdoor plans today, I think today Today's a great day to go ahead and do it. If you want to go golfing, if you want to just open up your curtains, let in that nice fresh air. I love to do that this time of the year. It's going to be a good day to do so. Overnight lows tonight will stay pretty mild. We will have increasing cloud coverage. So probably by the time you're going to bed, you'll notice we have a lot of clouds in place. And remember, when we have clouds at night or early in the morning, they act like a blanket. So it helps us to drop those temperatures getting too low. It stops those temperatures from getting too low. Low 50s heading out the door tomorrow. And then that's going to set us up for an even warmer day tomorrow. Upper 60s, low 70-degree temperatures for our forecast tomorrow. For our Wednesday, 72 degrees for your high there in Charlotte tomorrow. Seeing Rockingham, low 70s. And tomorrow we'll have a bit of a southwesterly wind. So when that happens, that just ushers in warmer air for us. And then eventually our temperatures respond. And that's why we have well above average temperatures heading our way. I mentioned earlier that we should be at 57 degrees. Today will be 10 degrees above that and getting even warmer through Friday, as we'll be topping off at 76. Now, I wish I could say Friday's going to be gorgeous with clear sunny skies and mid 70s, and that's just not the case. It is still going to be warm, but we'll definitely have a lot of cloud coverage in place, and then we're watching our next system that approaches that'll bring in more impactful rain. So once we go from Friday to Saturday, temperatures start to drop. By Sunday, we're back into the low 50s. So right now, I think the big story is the warmer weather. Then the bigger story come this weekend will be that rain that starts to move in, followed by a bit of a cool down. Now, rain chances overall, we'll start to introduce them back into the forecast on Thursday. Only a 20% chance, so small chances if you have any plans on Thursday and you've been watching the weather forecast to see if there's anything that could disrupt that. I don't think we have big issues on Thursday. Now, on Friday and Saturday, those rain chances will increase. Saturday seems like that's going to be kind of a rainy day, and even into Sunday. So overall this weekend we have great opportunities for rain, which again we always say we need it because we're in a drought and we need that rain, especially if we want a beautiful spring and summer. So we got to get ready, get geared up for a rainy weekend ahead. I don't think it will be non-stop rain all throughout the weekend, but definitely still a little inconvenient for any outdoor plans. Let's walk you through the futurecast. So really today, no issues. By Wednesday, tomorrow, we're going to start to kind of say goodbye to a lot of that sunshine and looking at mainly cloudy skies. If you're in one of our mountain counties tomorrow, you could have some light scattered passing showers, and then this takes us into Thursday morning. Much the same. The focus will be up in the mountains when it comes to wet conditions. Here in Charlotte, not seeing much activity at all. Could we see a few sprinkles on Thursday? Sure, but really Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that'll give us a much better opportunity to actually have that rain. Here's the setup. So we have a front associated with that area of low pressure. That's just going to be the driving force behind the rain that's ahead. And the rain that's not just impacting us in our viewing area, but really across the southeast in general. So even if you were heading out of town, say you were taking a road trip, you're heading to Atlanta, you have places to be, it is going to be rainy for most states across the southeast this weekend. Again, rain, we'll take it. We're not too concerned about storms, and at this point, we're not even concerned about any severe weather or anything like that. So we have no WCNC weather impact alert days. We usually just issue those when it's more of just a nuisance, when it could be something more serious. And at this point, it just seems like rain, a little inconvenience, but again, we need it. So how much rain are we actually going to get? Now, last Sunday, we received about 1.3 inches of rain here in Charlotte. That was a nice start to help with the drought, but we need much more than that to really start to see that drought becoming less and less, because parts of our viewing area, I mean, we're seeing an extreme drought, a severe drought, and it's going to take a whole lot more than just 1 inch of rain to help with that. Over the next few days, especially our weekend storm system, a lot of models are indicating that we'll pick up about an inch of rain, could see a little more than that, so it doesn't seem like a lot. However, again, we'll take what we can get, and I think when we have the rain, it's just going to kind of be that steady rain that becomes a little scattered, and then it will stop, and then it will pick back up again. It's not going to be a complete washout where it's heavy rain the entire day, causing huge issues. Nothing like that. Here's a Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast, so kind of just to wrap things up, where should we be this time of the year? 57. Today we're forecasting 67. And today, I would say it's honestly kind of the last really nice day, because we do get the sunshine out there. Although we do have clouds, we have sunny skies, and I mean, mid to upper 60s, not bad at all. Lows tonight, not even getting that cold, which means school bus stop forecast tomorrow, low 50s, sending the kids off to school. They probably just need a sweatshirt. Then tomorrow, again, nearly 70 degrees, so I definitely don't think we need layers taking us into the last few days of our work week. As far as any rain gear that you might consider keeping handy, I would say probably keep it handy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So straight into the weekend. Maybe if you're looking for an excuse to kind of stay inside and get things done or cozy up, watch your favorite show, read a book, I don't know, whatever it is, this weekend could be a fine weekend. But for those of you who actually like to go outside, even when there's little rain, I think this weekend will still be okay because it's not going to be every single hour of the weekend just pouring down rain. By Monday, heading into next week, we'll look for the return of sunshine, high temperatures, back into the lower end of the 50s. So starting out a little below our average, but then warmer temperatures are ahead next week. So that's our forecast. That's what we're looking at. I think people are kind of looking forward to the warmer temperatures, but again, kind of just overcast weather ahead.
I mean, warmer temperatures are better. I did, though, Majestic. I turned on my heat last night.
I was thinking about you.
You were?
I actually thought about you this morning because, like, it is cold in my house.
No, I did. And because last night I was, like, getting into bed and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
man, I can't do it. Because it was cold. It was
What do you
chilly.
have your heat on when you go to bed?
65.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not anything crazy, but I was just like, I mean,
I
my
don't
house
think
was
it's
like
time yet.
57. I'm like, yeah, Meg, we got to do it.
Yeah, maybe tonight though. I mean, lows in the low 50s.
I
So at
know.
least we're not going to be in the 30s.
Exactly. So maybe I can try and save some money.
Just cuddle up with your little fur babies.
Exactly.
That'll keep
Yes.
you warm.
All right, Majestic. Thank you so much.
Of course.
We're going to take a quick break right here on Live Impact News, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. If you just are joining us right now, it's going to be a great week with 70s, which is so nice. We just had Majestic Storm in talking about the weather. So we will be talking about that weather a little later on if you did miss it. But if you did miss it, you can go to our website and see what is in store for our weather. We want to talk about Jesse Jackson. We are remembering him this morning. He did die early this morning. He was 84 years old. The Reverend was a longtime civil rights activist, Baptist minister, and two-time president candidate. And he died at the age of 84, like I was saying, from Greenville, South Carolina. You know, he did so much in his life for so many people. He was the young protege of actually Dr. Martin Luther King, and was actually right by his side when Dr. Martin Luther King did pass. So just an extraordinary life that he did lead. And we're going to send it on over to NBC's Dan Sheenman. He looks back at his life and his legacy.
Measure human rights by one yardstick.
Jesse Jackson was never elected president, but he may have paved the way for someone that was.
We must have democracy and adequate representation. With a man our share.
The South Carolina native was in college when he became involved in civil rights. He joined the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, or SCLC, which was led by Martin Luther King Jr. With King, he was part of the Selma to Montgomery marches, and he was in Memphis when King was gunned down in 1968.
I dashed to the steps, and there's a picture of Anthony Young, and I'm pointing in this direction because when the bullet came from here, not from there.
After a career as an activist, in 1983, Jackson entered politics.
I am somebody.
He announced he would run for the Democratic nomination for president, just the second African American to do so.
I challenge you to join that coalition, become a part of this new broad-based drive to progressive change in our nation.
Pundits didn't take him seriously, but many voters did. Jackson won more than 18% of the vote. 4 years later, he made another run for the White House. This time, he won 11 contests, but again, fell short of the nomination.
And you can't thank the Lord for the food that you're about to receive if it's not there for you to receive.
While he never ran for president again, he remained active, and in November of 2008, he was in Chicago when Barack Obama became the first African-American elected president. 5 years later, scandal rocked Jackson's family. His son, Jesse Jackson Jr., pled guilty to wire and mail fraud charges and served time in a federal prison. But the personal setbacks did not stop Jackson.
Will we go backwards by fear and hate, or forward by hope and healing? We must make a choice.
He never stopped his fight for social justice. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
So a lot of our reporters actually here in the past had the chance to actually talk to him. And one of those reporters is Richard Devane. He has come across Jesse Jackson a few times. He was speaking to Ben and Lisa about his interactions with Jesse and kind of what kind of man he was. So let's take a listen to that.
The big breaking news story we've been covering this morning, the death of civil rights leader Reverend Jesse Jackson, a South Carolina native, died this morning at the age of 84. And Richard, we know that you knew Reverend Jackson. Share a little bit with us about your time with him.
Yeah, just Jesse Jackson, the Reverend. I've known Jesse Jackson, met him first when I was a college student in 1988. His campaign had asked me to spend a year actually working with the campaign, something that I didn't do, but I did say that I would, when he came to our campus and visited Grambling State University, I helped organize that event. And over the years, I've covered him many times. He always called me a homeboy, even though I'm not from South Carolina, but he always said homeboy this or homeboy that. Actually, remember speaking to him and how proud he was when the Confederate flag was finally lowered in South Carolina on that day. We spoke a few times. Always someone who would be willing to speak to the media. A man who was known for his civil rights activities, was starting out with Martin Luther King and the the youth organizations back in the 60s and even in the 70s when he started with Rainbow Push. Someone who's run for president twice, as I mentioned. Somebody who a lot of people knew, a lot of people said good, and a man who had complicated life, but he know about his physical ailments in the last years of his life. Honored to be able to be part of, to MC an event where the NAACP of South Carolina gathered together to honor him, to pay tribute to his lasting legacy, if you will, for the people of not just South Carolina, but of the country. So it's a terrible loss for the people of the country, someone who worked to make sure that people had equal rights, not just African Americans, but people throughout the country. Very, very tough day for a lot of folks. One that a lot of folks saw coming, but still doesn't make it any easier. He'll be remembered.
We'll certainly have more on that throughout the day here on WCNC Plus and as well as on WCNC Charlotte. All right, Richard, thanks so much for sharing that.
And we're going to continue to talk about the Reverend today. And we're actually going to have at 10 o'clock Charlotte City Councilman Malcolm Graham. He had actually a lot of interactions with the Reverend. So he's going to talk about him a little bit. And we're also talking to the Charlotte NCAACP, Corin Mack. And she's going to also speak about his legacy and what he really meant to not only the Carolinas, but to the country. So stick with us on WCNC Plus. We are going to continue to cover this. You don't want to miss those conversations. So keep it right here. For now, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. But keep it right here on WCNC Plus on Live Impact News. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Happy Tuesday. If you're just joining us, thank you so much for being here. We got a lot to get to today, but we're going to talk about two high-stake meetings for the U.S. right now. U.S. officials are engaging in dual negotiations today, both with far-reaching foreign policy implications. So in Geneva, U.S. envoys are meeting with Iranian officials to talk about nuclear talks. And while in Swiss city, negotiations will try to mediate a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. So lots going on in these meetings today. Alice Barr is going to give us the details on those talks for today.
The Trump administration turning to foreign policy today with separate high-level negotiations in Geneva, Switzerland, on Iran's nuclear program and Russia's war on Ukraine. President Trump saying he'll be indirectly involved in the Iran talks.
I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
The president sending a second U.S. aircraft carrier to the region ahead of the talks, ramping up the pressure on Iran to curb its nuclear program, as Iranian officials signal some flexibility in exchange for sanctions relief. The U.S. military buildup in the region follows Iran's violent crackdown last month on sweeping protests. President Trump asked Friday about regime change in Iran.
Seems like that would be the best thing that could happen.
He's also referenced last year's U.S.-Israeli bombing campaign that badly damaged Iran's nuclear infrastructure, suggesting further military action is on the table without a deal. In retaliation for any attack, Iran has threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, choking off a critical global oil pathway. All as top Trump envoys tackle a separate challenge today, mediating negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. Whether Ukraine will have to give up territory remains a central sticking point, closing in on the 4-year mark of Russia's full-scale invasion. Ukraine's president urging allies to help force Russia to peace, as President Trump called on Ukraine to come to the table fast. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Of course, we will keep up with those meetings today. So if any information comes out of it, we will be sure to let you know right here on WCNC Plus in our live Impact News studio. That's why you got to keep us on, because we are just going everywhere. And as soon as information comes in, we're getting it right to you. So keep it right here on WCNC Plus. You don't want to miss that. But right now, we're actually going to go back to Georgia. If you can remember yesterday, if you were joining us, we were at the trial of Colin Gray. This is the father accused of Appalachia High School shooter. That's his son. He's accused of giving his son firearm access used in that attack. 2 students and 2 teachers were killed in that attack. And so yesterday we were seeing some surveillance video. A law enforcement officer who did go to the school and was first on the scene also spoke. So we're going to continue that trial and see what's going on there from Georgia.
And what was the acuity of the patient listed as?
High risk.
Once she was there, can you tell us what service she was being provided at that facility?
Yes, pediatric surgery.
Okay. And on the same page under procedure, can you tell me what's described?
Yes, irrigation and debridement, extremity with splint placement, and wound vac placement.
And I'm going to take you to the next page, which is labeled as page 285. And can you tell us what the surgeon's findings were that were documented there?
Yes, posterior entrance, anterior exit wound of left shoulder with significant damage to anterior deltoid musculature, fragmentation of the bone with significant peristitial stripping.
All right, and I know you're not the surgeon yourself, but can you give us kind of just a basic concept of what this procedure was?
Basic concept would be patient came in with a gunshot wound that came in through the back shoulder and exited through the front without any bullet fragments remaining.
Okay. I'm next going to take you to the next page. It's labeled page 23. And did Melanie then have a subsequent surgical procedure 2 days later on September 6th?
Yes.
And was she still inpatient at that time?
Yes.
And can you read what's listed under procedure on the September 6th surgery?
Yes. Irrigation, debridement, left humerus with closure, irrigation, debridement, incision, drainage of skin, subcutaneous tissue, muscle, and bone for open fracture, open reduction, application of a coaptation splint, complex wound closure after ellipsing out of the necrotic tissue. Total wound length was 6 centimeters. Open reduction, internal fixation, extremity upper.
Okay. And very basically put, was this essentially a follow-up procedure to the September 4th procedure?
Yes.
Okay. Turning to page 261, when was Melanie discharged?
September 7th, 2024.
Okay. And lastly, I'm going to take you over to page 275. Prior to her discharge, did she have a psychology consultation?
Yes.
And on the very last page of your reference material, tell us about what Melanie reported regarding her anxiety.
When asked about whether patient was feeling more anxious since incident, patient stated, "I have anxiety, but it is worse since I got hurt."
Okay. No further questions from the state. The defense may have some questions for you.
Charles?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. You're ready to go. Thank you. Yes. State calls next witness.
The state calls Nautica Walton, and Judge, this next witness is a juvenile.
All right. So to the media, same instructions, no recording, photographing, or otherwise the juvenile space.
I guess more accurately put, was a juvenile at the time.
All right. They're about to bring a juvenile to the witness stand, and we do not show that here on Live Impact News. So we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will have more from Charlotte and around the country with live breaking news. So keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's bow time, baby.
Bow time.
Let's go.
We're not sponsored.
We are not
also,
sponsored.
I'd consider it. If you want to reach out to Carly and Bragg.
Say, we could use a sponsorship.
I love
My handle is, I'm just kidding. We would get in so much trouble. Okay, so it's been nearly 5 decades after opening its first location, West Boulevard, Bojangles.
Baby.
So, listen, I need to talk to you about this.
I'm a Bojangles girl, as a South Carolina girl. I'm born and bred, raised on Bojangles.
Yeah.
It's in my blood. I love it so so much.
I mean, listen, Carlene has a sign on her desk.
I do.
That says if you...
It's a biscuit policy.
It's a biscuit policy.
It's signed off and everything. There's
Yes.
letterhead, and it says if you go to a place
That has
that serves biscuits, you bring Carlene a biscuit. And since we have a Bojangles right down the road here, I get biscuits. I get Bo-berries quite often.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it is...
I mean, I
Right.
feel like we say it's bow time, baby, pretty good. So if they like want to do something,
Please
with
reach out.
us,
Call in.
Call in.
Let me know.
The
I'd love
Bragg
it.
sisters.
Can I tell you a quick
just,
story?
Yeah. Oh, tell me a
I
story.
think the statute of limitations is passed, so I feel like this is fine.
Okay.
I joined a club in high school
Okay.
just because their meetings every other month had Bo-berry biscuits on it.
Nice to
They serve.
What was-
You skip school to go to Bojangles? I've done that before
Wait.
too.
What was the? I want to know what the club was. It was like stitching or like knitting or something.
It was like some sort of athletic, like.
You're just sitting there eating the biscuits.
I don't even know because I didn't care. I just wanted the Bo-berry biscuit.
I just wanted the biscuits.
I ate plenty of them.
Good.
And if they had a Bo-berry biscuit club, your girl would have been president. But they didn't
my
have that,
gosh.
so I had to, join a club I wasn't really involved in.
We should
Just
do
Bo-berries.
Bo Bragg's segment and rate the biscuits.
Oh yeah.
Or
10s
something.
across the board.
Anytime you get a new, thing on your menu.
Please.
Just come on in.
Let me know.
We can talk to sales about it.
50 years of Bojangles.
Wow.
And
That's great.
30 of Carlene being involved with
And
Bojangles.
like joining clubs that she didn't even need to join.
I didn't need to join.
She
Sorry,
didn't
Somerville High
need-
School, but
Yeah.
I did it.
Okay, with all of that being said, we talked to the CEO, just talking about, the years and all the success that they've had and those delicious biscuits. So let's take a listen in.
Just jumping right into things, will you just walk me through, first of all, you're almost at another anniversary here. Just what's it been like?
Yeah. So the company is going to turn 50 next year, and we're so blessed to be 50 years old in our industry, and I think we really owe a debt of gratitude to our founders, right? Close to 50 years ago, they had an idea, they had a thought, they were extremely excited about figuring out how to create a brand that would have the sort of great food that we know in the Carolinas. The Carolinas are known for food and for hospitality, Southern food. And our two founders, Jack Falk and Richard Thomas, branded together and came up with the idea of Bojangles from a song that they heard on the radio one day. And they began their journey in Charlotte in 1977. And here we are, 50 years strong.
Well, nothing's that easy. I'm sure there were bumps in the road.
Yeah.
Are there any that you remember?
Well, I wasn't around back then, but I can tell you that Bojangles was an instant success because who doesn't love Southern food made the right way, right? When you think about Southern chicken, biscuits made in 49 steps, iced tea, our legendary iced tea that's steeped the old-fashioned way. Our founders knew that food made the right way with that Southern taste, that bold Southern taste, and served with the Southern hospitality was going to win. Were there bumps along the way? I'm sure there were. But I think like most brands, you persevere, you overcome, and you sort of pivot along the way, right? Because all brands have to pivot in finding the right balance of things that customers want. Even today you have to pivot. Today's customer wants more convenience. They want to do things digitally. And Bojangles has been able to adjust along the way, those 49 plus years, soon to be 50, because we listen to our customers, but we stay true to our roots being all about our Southern food and our Southern hospitality.
So what about expansion over the years, especially here, just in Charlotte in general? Talk a little bit about the growth.
Yeah.
As Charlotte's grown, you all have grown along with it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, isn't Charlotte a great place? I mean, I've been here now 7 years, and this has become home for me and my family, and we don't see ourselves leaving because Charlotte has everything you would want to live and have a great life, right? But it's also, it's interesting because people want what Charlotte has. And what Charlotte has is this incredible history of great food. And it has this great sort of reputation about people. People here are naturally friendly, they're kind. It's what we call Southern hospitality. And so the brand has done great growing in the Carolinas. We have the majority of our restaurants in North and South Carolina. The brand is now in 22 states. So we have grown from 13 markets 5-6 years ago to 22 today. And why is that? Because people love our food. They identify with our brand. And in today's world, some people are having a tough time. And when you go in and people treat you well, and they give you good value for the money, and the food tastes good, and it tastes like it was cooked at home, what's better than that? And that's Bojangles.
Yeah. And we talk a little bit about where the name came from.
Yeah. One of the founders, when they were in the process of putting sort of the concept together, the story is, of course I wasn't here, but the story is that the Bojangles song came on the radio, and it was sort of like a light bulb flashed, and he stopped at a phone booth back then. And he picked up and called up his partner and said, I've got the name for our restaurant concept, Bojangles, obviously from the song Mr. Bojangles, which is a really catchy tune. Mr. Bojangles, I mean, who doesn't love that song, right? And that's why our letters float, like lyrics. They float to sort of mimic the lyrics of a song.
Wow.
Yeah. You didn't know that, right? Know that. Isn't that something?
How important is it for you all to be in the community and seen in that way?
Well, it's a great question because another thing we owe our founders is when they thought about the brand, right, and creating this concept, they knew they wanted to be all about the great food, they wanted to be about the hospitality, and they wanted to be about the community. And that still holds true today. In every market that we are honored to serve customers, we want to pay back our customers' loyalty by being ingrained in the communities that we serve. As a matter of fact, to honor our 45th anniversary and to continue to build on what was already established, we launched our Bojangles Foundation. And that foundation has now started to grow. It's based on 3 basic sort of principles or areas of focus. We want to be about literacy. We think literacy is a huge opportunity to continue to help children read. Second, we love our first responder and military families. We serve a lot of them in many of our markets in Virginia and the Carolinas, certainly in Georgia as well. And we want to support first responder and military families. And our third leg, if you will, is all about local community engagement, support, local heroes, being there for our communities. I think every business has a responsibility to give back. And in this month, for instance, you see me wearing my patch. For the month of February, we've got a campaign where every heart-shaped Bo-Berry biscuit, make sure you get some, we are contributing a part of the sale of that towards the Greg Olson Foundation and the Bojangles Foundation, and we're also doing a Roundup campaign, another way in which we're giving back to the communities that we serve. We've got a 5-year roadmap around innovation. We engage with our franchisees around that. They're very instrumental in everything we do. We take their feedback very seriously. They're excited about a lot of the innovation that we're doing. But our customers dictate our future. And when we can satisfy them, they'll keep coming back often, and we can never stand still. We can never, sit on our hands and say, this is good enough. We always have to aspire to do better and to serve more and to be there for our customers whenever they like.
And then whenever people think of Bojangles, what do you want people to think about?
Well, I would love for them to say, that's my favorite place. You know, that's like my favorite restaurant. This represents me. It's all about the goodness that comes out of every person, right? Who doesn't love a home-cooked meal? Who doesn't have a great memory of mom or dad or grandma making a great meal? And when you go to Bojangles, I'd love to believe that part of what you get at Bojangles is that home-cooked meal that you remember from when you were growing up or when you go home. We don't have a microwave in our kitchens. We've got ovens, and we have real people crafting food with their hands. Like I said, our biscuit's the best biscuit out there. And I know that's kind of big of me to say that, but I really believe that. I've tried, I think, every biscuit out there. 49 steps to make a Bojangles biscuit. That's the best biscuit out there, honestly. And our chicken, our bold flavor, man, it's good. Like, I really want people to try our food and tell me how they feel about it, because I don't know better food than Bojangles. We're not fast food. We're good food fast. There's a big difference.
All right. Like I said, Bows and Bragg.
We're here. We're ready.
Here. We're ready.
Just give us a call.
Give us a call. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It is 9:50 right now, and we are going to actually go to Myrtle Beach. This is a really interesting case. So after almost 3 years, a hearing in the 15th Circuit Court will decide if Weldon Boyd, he's a North Myrtle Beach businessman, is liable for the death of Scott Spivey. So this hearing will decide if stand your ground law applies in the case, and this comes after many questions have been raised by officials and family members. So basically, they were driving. Boyd claims that he was using self-defense after shooting Spivey because Spivey was waving a gun. So it's very much so stand your ground case. There are arguments today, so let's hear it.
And then there's about 2 miles where there is the following or the pursuing, whatever you want to refer to it as, of Mr. Spivey's vehicle by Mr. Boyd. So there's no 9-mile chase of Scott Spivey. That's just wrong. And whatever your decision is, it ought to be based off the facts, not what some people want it to be, or what they want the facts to be, or that those rose-colored glasses they're looking through lead them to believe. The evidence will show that before Mr. Spivey ever encountered Boyd and Williams, that he was already road raging, or whatever you want to call he was doing. The evidence will show you that throughout this 9 miles himself, that he was pointing a gun at least 4 different people with a specific point. In addition to that, he was brandishing, waving, holding out the window, playing with, whatever you want to call it, that pistol, loaded Glock 9mm pistol. And I say it was loaded because it was loaded when he jumped out with it on Camp Swamp Road. He's waving that gun at people. He is, before he ever runs into Boyd and Williams, he's driving his truck on Highway 17 and then on Highway 9 at speeds that are 35 or 40 miles an hour over the speed limit. On Highway 9, before he sees any of these things, he's driving that truck at speeds between 85 and 95 miles an hour. So I say that, Judge, because the evidence will show that the speeding and the bad driving was because that's what Mr. Spivey decided to do. The old solicitor Jim Dunn used to say, whatever he did on the road that day, he did for reasons that were satisfactory to himself and himself alone. He instigated it, he started it, he sustained it, he kept it up, and that was him. Everybody else had to react to Mr. Spivey that day. He was, for lack of a better term, as my mother would have said, he was a holy terror that day. Nobody caused it. We don't know why. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the course of the hearing can tell you why, but he was. The evidence will be from the witnesses that we call that he started early in this near Bell and Bell at Colonial Charters, pointing a pistol at a young lady named Blaze Ward, who was so upset by what happened that she monitored him herself throughout this, probably 8 miles for her. She followed him. You was hearing her testimony. She thought that she needed to keep up with him. She, ways into that drive, called 911. That'll be one of the first pieces of evidences that you hear. And she says, he was the one causing the trouble. You're going to hear further testimony that just after that he pointed the gun at an elderly couple, forced them off the roadway, witnessed by one of the witnesses that we will call. She decided she needed to follow him and pursue him, that he was dangerous on the road that day. And along there is where he took off and reached these speeds of 85 and 90 miles an hour, there by Living Water Baptist and the river, Walkamaw River, in that area there. It was after that then that he came up and ran up behind a witness, Mr. Terry Wright, who will testify, and who Mr. Wright had been following Weldon Boyd and Bradley Williams along that roadway number 9. And again, I'm going to tell you that the best you can determine from all their testimonies, they're about 4 miles into this 9-mile stretch before these guys ever see, or Mr. Spivey ever sees these guys. And that at that point in time, that there is what the testimony will be, erratic, fast driving, pulling up behind, slamming on brakes, bouncing around, going left, trying to get around this track that might have been heavy in places, at least moderately so. And that eventually Mr. Spivey shot around the cars, got in front of, beside Mr. Boyd, and that's where the testimony would be from Bradley Williams, somewhere in that vicinity. He pointed the gun out the window at Bradley. Again, for reasons known only to himself. But nobody was bothering him. And as we know, before I forget it, he had earlier that day, maybe this is something to do with why he was doing what he did, he had been at Boardwalk Billy's Bar and Restaurant. And he had been drinking. And there's a bar tab that we will introduce into evidence with some 12 drinks or more. Beer, fireball shots. Probably didn't drink at all, or he'd have been at a higher blood content than 13. But he had enough of it to be full of himself that day, frankly. And so he had left Boardwalk Billy's down Highway 17. We don't know where he might have went before that, but then he's down Highway 9. When he runs into them, then he points the gun at Bradley Williams. And for the next couple of miles, there is what our clients and Mr. Terry Wright, frankly, will tell the court, that there is a continuous messing with of Mr. Williams and Mr. Boyd by Mr. Spivey. I can only envision, as I hear some of it, a little bit, the Daytona 500 was yesterday. And back when I paid any attention to that, you know, Dale Earnhardt would try to block Ricky Gordon and they'd be back and forth. That's what I envisioned was happening on the roadway. Mr. Spivey would shoot around in front. They tried to move right, he'd move right. Move left, he'd move left. And this went on for a couple of miles. Finally, Bradley started taking pictures of his vehicle, and you'll see those pictures. They'll come out. There's some of them got the gun in them, some of them don't. Now, as they're doing that, there's what these speed guys will refer to as brake checking events, where an automobile is going along at some speed, be it 60, 70, 80, 50, and then all of a sudden it decelerates from 80 to 49 miles an hour. You may well see that as evidence in the case. And one of those led to Mr. Boyd being forced off the highway with the trailer he was pulling into the median. And obviously a very dangerous move. He could have lost control, he could have gone into the oncoming lanes. It was a grassy median, hit somebody else head on. But he saved it, he got it back on the roadway, but that went on for several miles. Back along, and Blaze Ward herself is following all this, going along the same way. She sees that, she calls 911. That's to hear you call. After that, Weldon Boyd calls 911. And of course, you will hear that. But what I would say to you is that he is explaining to the court, the 911 people, what's going on and the need to get somebody, an officer there, to get this guy off the roadway. And it's from that point on, as I think you probably know from listening to some of it, there's a couple of miles, and in this area there, the speed of Mr. Spivey, we know his speed because we got his data off the cell phone, for maybe a minute, a mile, I don't know, you can discern that, reaches well over 100 miles an hour. 100, 105, I think there was one at 113 miles an hour. Again, those were choices he's driving in that manner. Now they're going to say, well, that Boyd and Williams chased him. Okay. And so they might have been, I don't know how fast they were driving. We were not able to get any cell phone information from their phones that would show any speed because the phone simply didn't retain it or what wasn't gained in time. But after that short stint of very fast driving, the last 2 2 miles of this ride are back at road speed, 60, 70, 50 miles per hour, before the turn onto Camp Swamp Road. Blaze Ward, I tell you this, I don't know how fast, we know how fast that electronic information is correct. I'm not sure what's correct and not correct with all this electronic information that we can derive from analysis, but apparently everybody believes in it. Whatever the speed was, Weldon here did stay within eyesight. And Blaze Ward, little blonde-headed Blaze Ward in her Altima, Nissan Altima, she stayed in eyesight and contact with him because she said somebody needed to get that guy off the road. So she's there. And so at that point in time, there is a turn into, onto Camp Swamp Road. Mr. Spivey makes that turn. And then the testimony that you will hear is that, and that testimony from a guy named Frank McMurrow from Weldon, from Bradley, and that obviously is where the shooting took place. So Mr. Spivey turns in, he abruptly stops. Weldon Boyd turns in that road behind him, sees that he stopped. He stops some 75 to 100 feet behind him. Didn't pull right up on him, saw him, stopped as quick as he could. And then Blaze Ward is behind them, and she makes the turn into Camp Swamp Road. Doesn't get very far because the trailer that Weldon is pulling is almost back to number 9. But she was able to get in there. And so the testimony that you will hear from that point on is that Mr. McMurrow will say that he's approaching Camp Swamp Road. Strike that. He was approaching number 9 on Camp Swamp Road. And that he saw the black truck abruptly stop in the roadway. A man jump out with a pistol drawn. He is in the roadway. He says that he's got the gun. He can tell that the slide is back. He's approaching, and then he sees the white truck. And then he's all over the place, really, but you hopefully have all of his testimony and you can discern. But the salient facts don't change, and that is that Mr. Spivey jumped out with a gun, and that he was yelling, according to McMurrow, "Stop following me." And he had his gun. And there was a lot of questioning of McMurrow about, well, what did you say? Did you see him? Your statement says he raised the gun. Well, he tried to back up on that a little bit. I don't know why. But he said, well, he had the gun out and he had it by his side and he started a slight upward movement and that went round and round. But it doesn't make any difference. The salient point of what he said is he jumped out with a gun, he had it in his hand, he was facing the white truck, he was yelling something at him, and that he had that gun in his hand and he started to raise it. That's the basic aspect. He does not say that he saw Mr. Spivey point the gun at these two. But he says that he don't know who shot first because he is driving by. You got to remember, part of what he says he saw is he's looking in the rearview mirror trying to push his wife down so she don't get shot. But it's strikingly strange that one thing he does is as soon as he sees this guy out with a gun standing in the middle of the road, he says that he's immediately worried about his wife's safety, so he's pushing her down. So it don't take you long to figure out a man waving a gun, you better be scared. That's exactly what Mr. Spivey was doing. Again, for reasons satisfactory to himself, he stopped in the highway. Murrah says that Weldon Boyd and Bradley, of course, again, Bradley weren't driving. couldn't get around Mr. Spivey because he was coming down the road and they would have collided. So the testimony you will hear from the witnesses, and then these two witnesses, Mr. Spivey and Mr. Williams, will tell you their version of what happened, which will be, as you see, that he was out, he had the gun, he did raise and point the gun, and he shot, and they immediately shot back. You will hear my client, Bradley, here say, back up, Weldon, when they got there. Back up, Weldon, back up. And again, I'll say again, Bradley was driving. Bradley didn't follow, chase, pursue, or use any word you want to use to do this. He didn't turn into Camp Swamp Road. He was driven to the site where a man who had already pointed the gun at him and harassed him is out again with a gun. The shooting occurs. And that's exactly what went down. The other testimony will be, that I want to talk about, is shot in the back. Well, he weren't shot in the back, as you and I and everybody in this courtroom would understand that. He weren't shot, stand up, he weren't shot in the back. You got me? He weren't shot in the back, so it went through the back, out the front, there you go. No, that's not what happened. What happened is, he is shot under what is called the ancillary region of the body, or the armpit, which is right here. Now, it is maybe what you might technically say is the back, but no, it ain't the back in the real world. It's right here under this armpit, and it travels through the body, never leaves the body, and is found in this pectoral muscle on the left side. It is consistent with when he got out of that truck. There's a question about did he shoot outside the truck or not shoot out the truck. There was one shell casing found outside the truck as evidence that it was shot outside the truck. That was all that was found, but we will present evidence that multiple cars went through this crime scene before the police had a chance to get in there and do what they needed to do. But whether, and I don't think anybody knows for sure where Mr. Spivey was hit. But the pathologist and the autopsy report and the medical personnel will tell you that the shot is consistent with being shot while the arm is raised.
You're watching WCNC Plus right here on Live Impact News. We're going to take a quick break, but coming up, we're going to talk to Charlotte City Councilman Malcolm Grant. He's going to talk to us about the Reverend Jesse Jackson and the civil rights leader who passed away this morning at the age of 84. So we're going to have a conversation with him coming up. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News right here on WCNC Plus. I hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday morning. We're going to talk about Reverend Jesse Jackson, civil rights leader. He passed away at the age of 84 earlier this morning. You know, lots of tributes coming in about him, just saying he's a force of nature like few others knew him before, and voice for the voiceless. I mean, he has just done so much, and it's been a treat to really just look back at his life and just honor this man. And somebody who knew him and talked to him several times is Charlotte City Councilman Malcolm Graham. Malcolm, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Yeah. You know, like I said, you've had several encounters with him, and actually several like very personal encounters as well. He did the eulogy at your sister's funeral. You spoke with him several times. Tell me, you know, kind of what this means to you as everybody does look back on his life.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I couldn't sleep last night, and so I was laying in bed watching news like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then the announcement came that he had passed. I know he was in ill health for a while, and so it really wasn't surprising. And I just thought about all the wonderful things he did to contribute to building a better nation, a better world, a civil rights icon, a native of Greenville, South Carolina. I was born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina, and had the opportunity to really meet him early when I was a young guy in elementary school, when he came to the school with the Hope Down with Dope campaign, and just really inspired me from an early age in terms of someone looking like me, really advocating on behalf of me and on behalf of a race of people. And obviously that took on to when I met him again on the campus of Johnson C. Smith. He was there rallying for Harvey Gantt when he was running for mayor of the city of Charlotte. I was the executive director for the Carolinas Minority Supply Development Council, and I brought a picture to show where I had the opportunity to introduce him.
Look at this guy.
A throwback picture. I was the executive director of the nonprofit organization, and we had our corporate awards dinner, and he, in 1988, was our keynote speaker. He was running for president the second time in 1988. Such a tremendous presence. I sit there and I watch him spoke at the dinner for about an hour with literally no notes.
Yeah.
A great speaker. I ran for Senate. And when robocalls was a new thing, he did a robocall for me.
Oh, wow.
And so citizens all over Charlotte heard Reverend Jesse Jackson say, hey, vote for Malcolm Graham for the North Carolina State Senate. And then lastly, when I lost my sister at the Emmanuel Amy Church shooting, he called me and we talked, and he prayed with me. And he said, I'm coming to Charleston. And I said, would you please do me the honor of being one of the speakers at Cynthia's funeral service? And he did. And I brought also the front, the local section of the Charlotte Observer, where he talked about the message that he delivered at the church service. He was personable, he was sharp, he was candid, he was an amazing speaker. He is history, right, for our country, and certainly for the African American community. But for Jesse Jackson, there would be no Barack Obama. Right. He certainly paved the way. Even during the delegate count, Jesse Jackson, when he ran for president, he used the delegate system to get the number of votes necessary to win the nomination. He fell short. Obama used the same formula and was successful. And so I'm going to miss my friend, my mentor, and someone who has an amazing impact on this country and this world.
You know, looking at just your history in general, a lot of the things align to what he, stood for, right? You want affordable housing, you want, to bridge the gaps here. Did he pave the way for you? Do you feel like you ran for all of this Senate, City Council, all of that because of him?
Yeah, because of role models like Jesse Jackson. He inspired me, again, from an early age. And you just watching someone that you met do what he was doing, being a student at Smith, and he's there advocating for Harvey Gantt, another Charlestonian, watching this guy that you know run for the presidency of the United States, not once or twice, and advocating for those things that are important to me. Safe communities, affordable housing, health care for those who need it, workforce and job opportunities, right? Trying to create a better country, a better community. All those things inspired me, and it's the platform that I kind of stand on today, watching him as an example of it's possible, right? He opened doors for me and others that look like me and Obama, that anything is possible if you keep hope alive.
Yeah. You know, he, young protege of Dr. Martin Luther King, he was actually right there when Dr. Martin Luther King passed as well. A lot of people saying, you know, this bridges the gap in history, right? Because he was right there with him. Well, now, moving forward, what is still that message? What still needs to happen?
Well, I think the message remains the same, right? That when you watch what's happening in our country today, we are better together. And I think that's the message that Reverend Jackson talked about each and every day, that we're better together, that we have to keep hope alive, that we have to strive for greatness, and that as a country, as a race of people, diversity, equity, and inclusion are not bad words. They are how you bring people together. And when you look at the demographics of the country, how the country is changing, those principles that he taught, that he spoke about, that he lectured about, that he died, right, still believing in, has to be transferred to a new generation of leaders, because those issues that he fought for still remains today.
Yeah, absolutely. Just personally, on a personal level, you know, with your sister and everything, having him do that, what did that mean for you and your family?
It brought some comfort. Everyone that spoke at Center Service knew her personally. So he was there to comfort me and comfort our family and comfort the community, and also to comfort a race of people, because the attack on Cynthia and Senator Pinckney and the others, they bore the brunt of that, but the attack itself was an attack against a race of people. And he talked about that, and he talked about the goodness of people, and that we're all in this together. And despite how we were feeling that day, that we still have to keep hope alive. Yeah. He was inspiring, and it demonstrated the depth of our personal relationship. Now, we didn't talk every day, right? But when I called, a day or two, I got a return call, and what can I do? How can I help you? And whether it was, like I said, this Sunday campaign, can you do this new thing called a robocall for me? He said yes. Or when I asked him, would he mind speaking at Center Service, he said, obviously, yes, I'm honored. So we were touched by the fact that he would take the time to do that for us.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask, as people are reflecting today and his long line and legacy of work, if there are viewers who kind of want to learn more about the man and his message, is there a speech that maybe sticks out into your mind, or a piece of work that you should tell people to watch or go see?
Yeah, for sure. His two nominating addresses in 84 and 88 at the Democratic National Convention is simply amazing. Every time I listen to it, and I probably will listen to it at some point today, I get chilled. That an amazing speaker, the ability to deliver the message clearly, the passion in which he delivered the message, and that the message needed to be heard by many. I mean, those two speeches are just simply amazing. And again, it's just reflective of who he was, and this whole thing about the Rainbow Coalition is bringing everybody together: black, white, gay, straight, young, old, rich, poor, farmers, those who work in janitorial services, executives. We are all stronger together, and that was his message on both addresses.
Amazing. Today, what are you doing, just to celebrate his legacy?
Well, I'm talking to you,
yeah.
right?
Sure.
Right? I'm talking to you,
yeah, I love
and
that.
to celebrate the legacy, I kind of pulled out some old articles and pictures to reflect on the man, and just remembering the contribution that he contributed to our country, and like I said, worldwide. He went overseas and brought prisoners home. He marched with King. He did so many amazing things. Right from Greenville, South Carolina, North Carolina A&T State University, an Omega man. Probably the only thing he got wrong, he probably should have pledged Kappa, pledged Omega Psi Phi fraternity. And so those are things I can relate to, right? Because he's so close and so personal to me, right? Amazing. So I will remember the man, and at some point today, I think I will Google that 88 speech and listen to it one more time.
Absolutely. Okay. Malcolm Graham, thank you so much for being here and sharing your experiences with him. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time now is 10:27. I hope you all are having a wonderful Tuesday. We did just hear from Charlotte City Councilman Malcolm Graham on Reverend Jesse Jackson's life and kind of his experience with him, his personal experience as well. So now we are joined by NAACP Charlotte Mack, right?
That's correct.
President?
President.
There you go, baby. President Corinne Mack, thank you so much for being here. We want to talk about Reverend Jesse Jackson. You know, NAACP did send out a statement earlier today kind of saying that he was a lifelong soldier for justice. Going back on his history, it's just absolutely incredible what he did, dying at the age of 84. Tell me about how important it is to continue to keep his message going.
Jesse Jackson was not only a soldier, he was a man of God who really truly believed in the importance of creating civil and human rights, and how important it was that Black people receive justice across the spectrum. He started at a very young age as a mentee under Dr. Martin Luther King. And I saw him in the late 70s, early 80s as a passionate soldier for civil rights. It's a rarity for people to put their lives on the line, but he did every single day. And that's why it's important for us to continue not only his life work, but the belief that all human beings have the right to a good quality of life.
Absolutely. Did you have interactions with him? Were you able to speak with him?
I did. You know, I'm a retired union vice president from New York City, and worked alongside Al Sharpton for many years and Reverend Daughtry. And of course, Jesse Jackson would come to a lot of the unfortunate protests that we had around stolen lives in New York City. In 1984, he ran for president. I actually ran with a whole bunch of my younger people, to get out the vote because we really wanted to see him become president. He then ran again in 1988. I did the same. I volunteered to try to help him win the presidency. And so that was when I had real interaction with him. And I don't know if people realize how kind he was, because he would stop and speak to each and every one of us and thank us. And even when he lost, there was a level of genuine love for the people and promise to continue the movement, and he did.
With this, you know, knowing Dr. Martin Luther King, like I've said too, he was right by his side when he passed as well. You know, they're kind of saying this really bridges the gap in history because Reverend Jesse Jackson was so much part of that movement. How do you feel about that and moving forward?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm concerned as a 60-year-old Black woman who's been in this work for 60 years of my life. I look back and I ask myself quite often, has my sacrifice been in vain? Because I'm not seeing the level of passion around the civil rights movement as I did 40 years ago. We had a Black and Jewish alliance that was really powerful in the 60s and the 70s, and I don't see that, which is why I'm working now to recreate that relationship. But I think it's important that all human beings realize what Jesse Jackson and Dr. Martin Luther King and so many others stood for. And that was for human and civil rights. That goes across all facets of life. And the fact that we are now in 2026 dealing with racism and bigotry and implicit bias, as if we did none of this work, is very disturbing for me. So when I heard that he passed this morning, you know, I shed a tear, and then I straightened my back up and said, you know, living is part of life and dying is as well. And all I can do now to really truly show my love and respect for him is to continue the work. When the night before I was like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
But I can be tired. I can do both at the same time. I can be tired, but be as committed to move us all forward in this country.
Did he help shape where you are today?
He did. The fact that he put himself on the line to run for president, that was the big thing in the 80s. I don't know if people realize how big a decision that was to run as the first black man, just as Shirley Chisholm did in the 70s as the first black woman. But he received a lot of death threats simply for exercising his right to run for office and stood his ground. And so many of us really respected who he was as a man when he said, I'm going to do this because I believe that I'm the best candidate. That's not an easy thing to decide. But more importantly, it's not an easy thing to decide in the face of the level of racism and threats that he received. He wasn't as vocal about it as, Dr. King was at some point, and even Malcolm X was at some point. But nonetheless, he too had his life threatened.
When you were working in and volunteering for that, kind of tell me about that a little bit. I know you said he was a wonderful man to just speak to everybody, but in the throes of it, when you were going out there, when you were volunteering, how was that situation? Was it frightening for you, or did you find more so support around it?
It wasn't frightening initially. I was a union vice president. Well, I didn't become one yet. I think I was the chairperson of transit workers at the time. I was the first woman to ever hold office. And so I had a lot of support. Thousands of people would go out with me when I went out, so I had a team of people who pretty much kept me safe. But I know my first incident while I was doing campaigning of racism was during that campaign. When I really got cussed out and someone sicked their dog on me. That was the first incident I had that, could have gone left really quickly. But thank God, some of the men that were with me, they diverted the dog away from me, and I was able to get away. In that moment, I realized that some people didn't care that he was running because he wanted to help all people. They simply did not want him, a black man, to run. And oftentimes, we as human beings prefer to put our heads in the sand and act as if that insidious movement isn't real. And it is. And this man, every single day, sacrificed his life. Every single day. So when we think about Jesse Jackson, I want us to think about the young man, the very young man, who walked with Dr. King. Peaceful protesting at a time where law enforcement was being so violent. It's a parallel to what we're seeing around ICE right now. So I look at what ICE is doing and say, oh, they're back at it again, where some may be shocked. Imagine Jesse Jackson in the throes of that movement, having to quiet his spirit, even though he was angry and frustrated, and sometimes in the midst of deep fear, saying, I'm going to be the example for all of us. I'm going to stand in the gap for all of us. I'm going to love in action for all of us. That's what I respect about him, and that's why I'm going to continue this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today, as people are remembering him, what do you want your message to be as people reflect on his legacy?
Love is an action word. He moved in love. And I would hope that we would all self-reflect and find deep inside of us some level of love and portray that love publicly by getting engaged and taking action.
Great. Corinne, thank you so much for being here. We really, really appreciate you. And just reflecting on his legacy. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right here on Live Impact News, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Watching live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time now is 10:39. We are going to head back to Myrtle Beach right now, where a stand your ground hearing to decide the fate of a road rage shooting case is there. So this has been a long-awaited stand your ground hearing over the deadly shooting of Scott Spivey. And authorities said Weldon Boyd, the owner of Boys on Boulevard in North Myrtle Beach, shot and killed Scott Spivey in September of 2023 following a road rage incident. He's claiming it is stand your ground. So let's take a listen into this.
I've been here for an hour, 15 minutes. I was sitting here for an hour, 15 minutes. That's the perfect time to take a break. And I told you I'd be specific with that clock. 20 minutes till 11. I don't think to get everybody in and out, but I'm going to be gracious and say 11 o'clock. Doors will be closed. Can't get back in 20 minutes.
Okay, that was in Myrtle Beach, but you can see the shot is going in and out. So we're not going to show you that as staticness. You don't want to see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Destiny Richards. So this morning, local street vendors are facing uncertainty because a city pilot program that was in place allowed vendors to be in NODA and allow them to sell whatever they were selling. You saw a lot of jewelry out there. You saw clothing, but now they could face up to a $500 fine because that pilot program was decided to no longer be in place. And we are talking to businesses about what they think about that. So Destiny Richards spoke with some businesses, and we're going to hear from her.
Yeah, there is a stark divide over this. While many business owners and neighbors say that street vendors brought a lot of character and culture to this neighborhood, the city ultimately decided to shut this program down. And now anyone caught here vending without approval could face a $500 fine. And tonight, supporters and people who oppose street vending will have a chance to push back. NODA's street vending pilot program ran for about 7 months before City Council voted to end it, citing concerns about sidewalk congestion, CMPD staffing during shift changes, and competition with established businesses. But some business owners tell WCNC Charlotte the vendors actually brought more foot traffic to the area, especially during the summer months. They say the street market created a buzz that helped draw customers who may not have otherwise come to NODA, and they noticed a difference since it ended.
I think it brought like a lot of really positive community and good foot traffic. There's plenty of spaces around here that they could designate for anything. There's parking lots that aren't used half the time because businesses have weird hours. There's just ways that they could definitely organize it in a better and more positive way.
So tonight at 6 p.m. at the Government Center Uptown, that's when the public input session is happening, where neighbors, business owners, and street vendors on both sides of this issue can come before city leaders. We also know that the city of Charlotte is also considering expanding these street vending regulations so that they apply citywide. Live this morning in NODA, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right here on Live Impact News, but keep it with us on WCNC Plus. Watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We're going to head over to Miami, Florida right now, where Senator Rick Scott is talking about election security. So let's take a listen in.
Fraud. We want everybody to participate. I tell everybody, go participate. Anybody that runs would like everybody to vote for them, but reality is we all need to go vote, but we don't want any fraud. And that's one thing we do a good job in Florida. But when you look at the national elections, it matters who the majority of the Senate is. It matters to you. So it matters to Floridians that other states also do their elections right. And we need to do it like we do in Florida. You do have to show you're a citizen to register to vote. That's common sense. I don't get to vote in the French election, the Canadian election, and none of you guys, no, maybe some of you do, but we don't get to vote in those elections. We only vote in the American elections. They just shouldn't get to vote in our elections. That's number one. Number two is just to make sure there's no fraud, you ought to show ID on election day. So it's common sense. We've got a bill called the Save America Act. We have 50 people on it now. What I tell everybody, call every U.S. senator you know. It's already passed the House. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. It doesn't really matter. We all want election security. So call your U.S. senator and say you ought to get on this bill. There's a variety of ways we can try to get the bill done, but it's very, very, very important that we get this bill passed. Gracias a Alina Garcia por recibirnos aquí. La seguridad electoral es muy importante para todos los americanos. Siempre he dicho que mi objetivo es las elecciones es 100% de participación y 0% de fraude. Estoy luchando duro para aprobar la ley, the Save America Act. It was called the SAVE Act until there was a person in the White House who wanted to add the word America. He thought it would help it. So I hope it does. Hope it gets it across the line. That would be nice. Deberíamos exigir identificación de votante para votar. Cualquier persona que quiera votar en nuestras elecciones debería ser ciudadano americano. It's muy importante. So now we're going to turn it over to the property appraiser. Do you have something wonderful you want to say?
Thank you, Senator. Good morning. Election integrity is more than a dream and it's more than a goal. It's something that we need to do throughout the United States to get back the trust that the people of the United States have lost in many places about our election. Voting is a privilege, and this is why, Senator, what you're doing is bringing back trust in the system. Alina is doing a phenomenal work here. All I can say, Senator, is that for those of us who compete in election, it's important to see the faces of people who do believe in the system and are willing to go by the book to elect the people that they want or they deserve. Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from, when I first ran in 2010, all I knew was Renee.
Thank you, Senator. Listen, it really is an honor for me to be here today, and let's take a step back. In 2000, when I first got elected, we all know the debacle of the election system here in the state of Florida. What happened with the recounts and recounts and recounts after the presidential election. We know the errors that were committed, and subsequently we were able to fix them in the state of Florida, and now we feel very comfortable with the election systems that we have and the way that the process is working. In the state of Florida, it's working, and thank God that we have Alina Garcia down here in Miami-Dade County who is leading the way in ensuring that we do have safe and open elections. Folks, just remember, we live in a republic, and the most sacred pillar that we have is our democracy. And the only way we can protect that democracy is of making sure that we have transparent and open and fair elections. We see that across the country, we've seen some anomalies happening in some elections. We want to make sure that doesn't happen. So I think, Senator, with the work that you're doing with the Save America Act right now, making sure that we have the lessons learned from the state of Florida that you lived through, and making sure we take that to Washington, D.C., and make sure that every state, their voters can depend on their election system. I think this is why it's important, incumbent of all of us, regardless of Republicans or Democrats or Independents, that we stand together in making sure that we have an open and fair and transparent elections. And why not, where people have to identify who they are. We identify ourselves to get a cell phone. We identify ourselves to buy anything in the stores. Why do we not have to identify ourselves when we vote and cast the most sacred thing that we have as an American, which is that vote? So, Mr. Senator, I appreciate you very much for the work that you're doing on this. Without you, this will never be able to get to where it is today. Y quiero dar las gracias al senador Rick Scott, que está aquí, que aunque es senador aquí en la Florida, siempre va a ser gobernador, porque si es uno de los mejores gobernadores de nosotros aquí. Estoy parado junto a él hablando de la seguridad, de la integridad de nuestro sistema electoral. Recuérdense que en 2000, cuando nosotros pasamos por el fiasco de las elecciones aquí, que no supimos quién fue el presidente, después de esas elecciones, nosotros cambiamos el sistema electoral de aquí de nuestro estado y ahora está funcionando y trabajando bien. Y creo que es importante reconocer las labores y los logros que se hicieron aquí, especialmente junto ahora con Alina García, que es la supervisora de elecciones aquí del condado de Miami-Dade County, y está haciendo tremenda labor para asegurar que las elecciones se mantengan transparentes aquí. El pilar más importante que tenemos en la República nosotros es el pilar de la democracia. Y esa democracia hay que protegerla a todo costo. ¿Y cómo se protege esa democracia? Asegurando que nuestras elecciones sean transparentes y abiertas. Y lo más importante es poder reconocer quién está votando. ¿Cómo que nosotros tenemos que presentar una identificación para comprar un teléfono o para cualquier cosa estamos comprando y no para las elecciones? Es tiempo que la nación entera copie o imita lo que estamos haciendo aquí en la Florida para asegurar que las elecciones nacionales sean transparentes. Senador Rick Scott, gobernador, muchísimas gracias por liderar por esta haciendo.
Now we're going to hear from newly elected Commissioner Fabio Andrade.
Thank you, sir. Well, to start off, I'm honored to be in the building, Alina. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. That's phenomenal. Está haciendo un trabajo fenomenal. La felicito y siga para adelante y estamos con usted. Senator or Governor, Senator said.
Call me Rick.
You're Rick, yeah. Dear Rick. No, we're here to support you. There's no question. I've been very active in elections. Many of you know me. We are very much in favor of this. The Latino community is in favor of this. There's no doubt that we want integrity in our elections. We want voter registration information and citizenship voting. So once again, Senator, thank you for inviting me. We are here in support. Estoy acá porque es muy importante reconocer a la señora Alina García el trabajo que ha hecho tan fabuloso en este departamento. La felicitamos, le deseo éxitos y hay que seguir este trabajo. Al senador, como siempre, lo he apoyado desde el día que lo conocí, porque él está llevando las leyes correctas para el Estado correcto, para la nación correcta. Es muy importante este apoyo que tenemos los latinos sobre este proyecto de ley. Es vital que se pida la identificación. Estamos con usted, senador. Vamos a apoyar esta causa porque es importante que haya integridad en nuestras elecciones y no perdamos en ese sentido. Muchas gracias.
Can we just finish and just talk about one more thing? We have an opportunity for free and fair elections in two countries, Venezuela and Cuba. I'm very optimistic. There's a lot of people who worked their butt over that for decades. So I think what's really important now is don't stop talking about it. Constantly, every day, everybody you can talk to, everything you post on social media, everything if you're on TV, constantly talk about it. Take Venezuela. We have to have expectations that there are free and fair elections. I'm very happy that there appears that we are going to have a good relationship, but we got to have a free and fair election, and the people of Venezuela get to pick who they want to be as their president. So this is the first time in my lifetime I can remember as a child, and I actually went to Guantanamo Bay in the Navy when I was in the U.S. Navy, but it was before they had all the prisoners there. but we just did refresher training. But this is the first time in my lifetime, and I actually remember as a kid, a friend of mine went to, it was her dad was stationed in Cuba, in Guantanamo Bay. This is the first time probably, this is the closest we ever get to freedom. Yes. So we cannot let up. So we should, constantly talk about what has to happen, and to the extent anybody you know in Washington D.C., give them support. Tell them we need them to stay strong and make this happen. We have got to get freedom and liberty. If we get freedom in Venezuela, I think it'll end up in freedom in Cuba. But you never know. We have to be active. So it's great to be here. Thank you.
No, we're taking questions after. We're going to do a guide.
Can we take questions up here?
Yeah, but let's do a picture. Let's do a picture first.
Oh, you want to do a picture first?
Yeah.
Picture first.
That's really important.
Yeah.
Everybody squeeze in, squeeze in. Thank you. Yes. And we're going to first look here at this phone, please. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Another one. She's great. Now look here, please. One more here. Perfect. Wonderful. All right. So I'm going to bring the senator here, and he's going to take
Yes, he's going to.
Supervisor also.
And right now, too, Reverend Al Sharpton is holding a presser around 11 o'clock. So we are going to bring you that when we come back here at 12:30, as well as other news that is happening around our area. The Reverend is going to be talking about Reverend Jesse Jackson, who did pass away at 84 years old earlier this morning. So we've been remembering the Reverend all morning long, and we will continue in the afternoon when we come back here at 12:30. But keep it right here on WCNC Plus, because Nick Sturdivant is going to be doing the 11 o'clock news, so you can get all of your local headlines still right here on WCNC Plus.